you doing? This is Coffee Break with Jimmy. And, of course, I'm Jimmy, right? Anyway, I wanted to kind of go off of what I talked about yesterday. You know, the Epstein files were released, and Trump said they're going to... and like I said yesterday, you have to be patient. And patience is... well, like I said, patience is a virtue. Donald Trump is getting more and more patient. I'll explain. But the Epstein files were released. Apparently, Jasmine Crockett got some donations from a Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, and I guess this is true. It's not the Jeffrey Epstein that committed all those crimes. But anyway, so she got some money out of that from him, some donations, and apparently Hakeem Jeffries, I guess he got some money from Jeffrey Epstein, the one with all the one that's dead. Okay. Anyway, so apparently he solicited some money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's all going to be found out. There's still going to be a lot of stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going to be redacted. Some won't, and there will be some people that will stand trial and probably get arrested, or maybe they'll spend some time in jail. But now this sedition about these, I talked about that yesterday also, about those six congressmen and senators that said that they need to not obey illegal orders. Well, when the order is given by the commander-in-chief, they're not illegal. They're legal orders come from the commander-in-chief, and you have to go by those orders. And that is, and those saying this, from Congress and the Senate, this is sedition. I mean, this is treason, if you ask me. Now, the treason would fall apart. It would fall on the, if the National Guard didn't follow orders and go to a city and help the police department over there to help clean up a city. Trump's done that a few times. We talked about that yesterday. And I think they would be the ones. They would be the ones that would be held for treason if they disobeyed the orders. And then they would stand in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's where they would stand trial for that. But the Uniform Code of Military Justice is a little bit different than in the regular justice system for the rest of us. But so we'll see what happens there. I don't think anybody's going to disobey any orders given by the commander-in-chief, number one. I don't think anyone will do that. But this is really kind of stupid. I guess they're all backtracking now. They're all saying that, they didn't mean that. They were just saying that they could do this, or this is something you should ponder on whether it should be done or not. I don't know. I don't know all the language. I'm paraphrasing everything right now because I don't know all the language they use on this. But I guess they're backtracking on that right now. And there's a lot of people backtracking. I wanted to talk about Johann Mondami today. They had the meeting with Donald Trump in the Oval Office today, and apparently they had a good meeting. And Donald Trump did the kill him with kindness kind of thing. I don't want to say kill him with kindness. He was real kind to Johann Mondami, and he was also with Trump. And he did admit that he is a Democrat socialist. And Trump didn't say anything about him being, a communist, and because they're saying that he's kind. Even Catherine said that he was a communist. The speaker for the White House, she said that as a communist is going to be coming to the White House, the Oval Office. But they took some questions, and they were real cordial with one another. And like I said before, with this Epstein thing, Donald Trump, he's being patient, okay? And we'll see how this all plays out. Johann Mondami is already backtracking on some of the things that he said. He says some things like he had 4 words for Donald Trump, turn up the volume or something, and what that means, I don't know. Trump was trying to figure out what that meant also. But he knows he's not going to be able to run New York without some federal help anyway. There are going to be some things that aren't. I mean, you're not going to be able to get free buses. Where are they going to get the money? The buses that the people that are employed there, the bus drivers, fuel for the buses themselves, repairs and whatnot, all that costs money. You're not going to be able to give it free. And if they did give it free, all you'd have is homeless staying on the bus all the time and just living on the bus for as long as they can because they can ride it free. Same thing with the train. And, I think Johann Mondami's got to have a rude awakening on all that because he's not going to be able to have state-run grocery stores either. But we'll have to wait and see. And I think Donald Trump, as the president, is letting him do what he said he was going to do with some help from the president. Now, President Trump also said he wants New York to do well. That's his hometown. That's where he's from. He spent most of his life in New York. He wants New York to do well, and he thinks that Mondami can do a good job. I think he's giving him some, he's propping him up there, telling him that you can do a good job, and you're going to get help to do a good job. And if Mondami actually does work with Trump and do the right things and follow Trump's lead, and maybe, in certain respects, I think they might be able to. Who knows? Who knows? And you always want them to do a good job, no matter who. Even like when President Obama, I never forget when he was elected. Everybody knew that he was being elected because he was going to be the first black president. He wasn't really the first black president. He was, his mixed race. He was half white, half black. But everyone wanted to vote him in because of that. And because he got voted in, well, then I accepted it. He's our president now. I didn't vote for him. I didn't want him as our president. And I didn't think after 8 years he didn't do a good job at all, as far as I'm concerned. But he was still our president. And when you win the election, well, you're president. Even Joe Biden, even though I don't believe he won the election, I think Donald Trump was ripped off there. Personally, I think President Trump won the 2020 election also. But that's neither here nor there. The whole thing is he's being kind to Johann Mondami. He's going to try to see if this guy stays the course of what he ran on, chances are he's going to fail. But if now he's backtracking on some of the things, he's changing his mind, like arresting Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever came to New York. Well, Donald Trump said, well, that's not going to happen. They didn't really talk about that too much, but he talked about that earlier because that's not going to happen. There's some things that Johann believed that he could do, but he can't do without the governor of New York actually pulling some strings or making some calls that he could do in New York as the mayor, but he's also got to follow the governor's lead also. So I think he probably kind of stepped on it a little bit, but we'll see what happens. And we'll see what happens in 2026. And then we'll see what happens in 2028. And I think a lot of these things are going to depend, on what happens now, after, he starts being the mayor of New York, and we'll see what happens. And so Trump is actually giving him a little bit of rope. But if he gives him too much rope, he might hang himself. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's what he did with Epstein also. Even though, like I said, Jasmine Crockett, let's clear that up. Jasmine Crockett, apparently, this was another Dr. Jeffrey Epstein that is kind of coincidental. But well, I guess there is one, But I guess that was something that we'll have to wait and see on also. But some of these Democrats are just, I don't know. They're just everything's so catawampus right now. Everything's so screwed up right now, especially in the Democrat Party. They don't have a leader. Schumer's being kicked to the curb for more reasons than one, I guess. He's really not a good leader. Hasn't been a good leader for some time. Jeffries is the same thing. He's starting to do a little bit of backtracking also. So we'll see what happens there. But that's the main thing. We'll see what happens with the mayor of New York and see if he does anything. I know back in the day, if in fact he is a communist, and if he's a Democrat socialist, well, that's Bernie Sanders as well. He's an independent socialist, Bernie Sanders is, but he caucuses with the Democrat Party. There's a lot of them that believe that way, and they haven't done much. They haven't really done much for the United States, or they're individual, and like in this case with Mamdani with New York. And so we'll see what happens there. But just have faith in Trump. Trump knows what he's doing, and by being polite with him and working with him and saying we're going to work together, and when he says I believe he could do a good job, well, I think Trump wants him to do a good job because he's from New York. He wants New York to be successful. And you can't blame him for that because he's from New York. He's a New Yorker. And so we'll see what happens there. And then, of course, again, we're going to see what happens on the Epstein thing. Oh, one more thing. This is something because, I just did a podcast here a while back about, Christopher Columbus being Portuguese. I guess Ronaldo is a Portuguese soccer star. I guess yesterday, the day before, he was at the Oval Office with President Trump, and they had this okay. Artificial intelligence had Trump and Ronaldo playing soccer in the Oval Office. That's not going to happen. Not in the Oval Office, I'm sorry. And Trump can't move like that anyway. But that was artificial intelligence. But it was kind of funny to watch that. I saw that on True Social. And but I guess Ronaldo and his soon-to-be wife, they spent the day over there at the White House and at the Oval Office. And Trump says he really likes Ronaldo, and I guess it was Barron that really wanted to meet him, so he had him there. And but I'd like Trump to watch my podcast about is Christopher Columbus Portuguese, and I got a couple of podcasts done on that, and he can see that. I don't know where Ronaldo's from. He's from the Azores. He's from Madeira Islands, from the mainland Portugal. I don't know where he's from, but he's on the Portuguese soccer team, and he's one of the best soccer players in the world today. And I guess Trump said, well, I guess I'm going to have to start following soccer because he likes this Ronaldo pretty good. But I'd like Trump to see my podcast to see where, Christopher Columbus is Portuguese, although he does have a touch of Italian in him also. So it makes him a little bit Italian, but he's mainly Portuguese. So anyway, so we're going to see what happens. Trump, I think, is playing his hand, and I think is doing it the right way. And if things work out good, like I said, I don't think he's going to give him too much rope, but he might give him too much rope, and Johan might hang himself if he's not careful. And we'll see what happens. And we'll see what happens on the Epstein saga also. So anyway, this is Coffee Break with Jimmy, and please subscribe and hit the like button and the notification bell so next time you know I'm on. All right, thanks.